My name is Vivian. I was 24 years old when I met Lucas. He was 27, a simple man with a quiet smile. We met in a small bookstore in town. I was reading a book about dreams when he smiled and said, "That's a good one." I laughed. That was how everything began. Lucas and I became close very quickly. Every day, we met in the park or by the sea. We talked about everything, our future, our hopes, and the places we wanted to see. He wanted to open a small bakery. I wanted to become a teacher. We were young, full of dreams, and I was truly happy with him. He listened to me. He never made fun of my small dreams. We didn't have much money, but we had love, and that felt like enough. But then one day, things changed. It was a cold evening, and we were supposed to meet at the park. I waited over an hour for him. When he finally showed up, he looked upset. I asked him what was wrong. He said, "You don't understand me. You don't care about my problems." I was shocked. I didn't know why he was angry. We argued for the first time. We both said things we didn't mean. The next day, Lucas didn't call. I thought he would send a message or come to see me. But he didn't. 1 week passed. Then another. I called him, but he didn't answer. I waited and waited, hoping he would come back. But he never did. Then something happened that changed my life. I started feeling tired, and my body felt different. I went to the doctor. She looked at me and said, "Vivian, you are pregnant." I couldn't believe it. I was going to have a baby. I was scared. I didn't have a job. I didn't know what to do. My hands shook as I held the test results. I went home, sat on my bed, and cried for hours. A few days later, I found the courage to write to Lucas. I told him everything. I wrote, "Please, I need to talk to you. I'm going to have a baby." I waited for his reply, but he didn't respond. I sent another message. This time, he blocked me. He left me, just like that. Time passed. My belly grew. I moved back to my parents' house. They were sad and disappointed, but they helped me. My mother stayed up with me when I couldn't sleep. My father worked extra hours to buy baby things. I felt guilty, but I had no one else. Then my baby girl was born. Her name is Sarah. She had soft brown eyes and tiny fingers. When I held her for the first time, I cried. She was so small and so beautiful. But after a few weeks, the doctor gave me bad news. Sarah had a heart problem. She needed special medicine and regular checkups. The medicine was very expensive. I tried to find a job, but no one would hire a young mother with a sick baby. I sold my clothes and books. I stopped eating full meals just so Sarah could have her medicine. I cried every night. My parents helped as much as they could, but it wasn't enough. I didn't want to, but I contacted Lucas again. I wrote, "Sarah is your daughter. She is very sick. Please help me. I'm not angry. I just need your support." Days passed with no reply. Then, finally, he sent a short message, "I'll send $200 a month. That's all I can do." I couldn't believe it. Lucas had a good job now in real estate. I knew he had money. $200 wasn't enough for Sarah's medicine, but I took it. I had no choice. Each month, I waited for that money like it was gold. Sometimes it came late. Sometimes it didn't come at all. Still, I never stopped loving Sarah. She smiled even when she was in pain. She laughed at birds, loved music, and hugged me tightly every morning. She gave me strength. Years passed. One day, my friend showed me something on her phone. It was a photo of Lucas on a business website. He was now a millionaire. He was married, had a big house, 2 children, and a fancy car. His photos showed expensive vacations, rings, cars, and gifts for his wife. I looked at those pictures in silence. Why was my daughter suffering while he lived like a king? That night, I sent him one last message, "Sarah is still sick. You post your riches online, but you can't help your daughter. Why?" This time, he didn't reply. He blocked me again. I sat alone in my room, holding Sarah, crying. But I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I shared my story online. I talked about Lucas and how he gave only $200 a month while Sarah needed thousands. I posted photos of her in the hospital. People were shocked. Many asked, how can a father ignore his sick daughter? Lucas's name appeared in the news. People asked hard questions. But some also blamed me. They said, why now? Is it because he's rich? Those words hurt me deeply. I cried again. I didn't want to ruin his life. I just wanted help for Sarah. But nothing changed. Lucas didn't come. He didn't call. Even the $200 stopped. I was left with more pain. So, I stopped fighting. I held Sarah close and said, it's just us now. We'll make it, no matter what. Before I tell you more, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? It makes me feel happy to know someone is hearing my story. Please comment. I really want to know. 2 years passed. Sarah was now 5. She still needed medicine, but she was stronger. She loved drawing animals and flowers. When she smiled, my heart felt light. I stopped thinking about Lucas. I stopped checking his photos. I had no more space in my heart for pain. All I wanted was to give Sarah a good life. Then something beautiful happened. I met someone new. His name was Mark. He worked in a small shop near my home. I often went there to buy fruit and bread. One day he said, you always look tired. Are you okay? I smiled and said, I have a daughter. She keeps me busy. We started talking. Mark was kind and patient. He listened to me and asked about Sarah. When I told him about her health, he said, she must be strong like her mother. We became friends. Then more than friends, Mark didn't run away when things were hard. He came to the hospital with me. He brought toys for Sarah. He made her laugh. She started calling him Uncle Mark, then just Mark. One day she asked him, can you be my dad? Mark had tears in his eyes and said, yes. I'd love to. A year later, Mark asked me to marry him. I said yes. It was a small wedding with close family and friends. Sarah wore a white dress and carried flowers. She smiled all day. We moved into a small house. It wasn't big, but it was ours. We painted the walls together. Mark made a garden for Sarah. She watered the plants and talked to them every morning. Our life wasn't perfect. We still had money problems, and Sarah still needed care, but we had peace and love. Then one morning, everything changed again. I got a message from an unknown number. It said, Vivian, this is Lucas. I know I hurt you. I want to see my daughter. My heart beat fast. Why now? I showed the message to Mark. He said, it's your choice. I'm with you. After days of thinking, I replied, Sarah is not a baby. She remembers things. You can meet her. But please don't hurt her again. Lucas asked to meet in the park. I told Sarah we were meeting someone special. When we arrived, Lucas was already there. He looked different, simple clothes, no fancy car. He knelt down and said, hi. I brought you some gifts. Sarah looked at me. I nodded. She walked over and took a stuffed rabbit. Thank you, she said. Lucas hugged her and cried. He looked at me and said, I'm sorry, Vivian. I was a coward. I missed everything. He gave me house keys and a folder. The house is near a hospital. And this is for Sarah's treatment. Everything is paid for, forever. He added, I also want to change her last name to mine. Only if you agree. I looked at Mark. He smiled and whispered, it's your decision. I looked at Sarah. She was laughing with her rabbit. Then I said, let's take it slow. But yes, you can be in her life. From that day, Lucas came often. He took Sarah to the zoo, movies, and beach. He brought flowers and thanked Mark for being there. He paid for everything, medicine, tests, school. But more than money, he gave time. He sat with Sarah when she was sick. He helped with homework. He taught her to ride a bike. Sarah called Mark Dad and Lucas Papa. They both loved her deeply. One day, Lucas's wife visited. Her name was Claire. She brought a doll for Sarah and sat with us for tea. She said, "Thank you for letting Lucas come back. Sarah changed him." We talked like old friends. From that day, we all worked together. No hate. No anger. Just love. Life had challenges, but we faced them together. Years passed. Sarah turned 10. She was stronger, healthier, and full of life. She had friends. She loved school and drawing. She sometimes drew pictures of all of us, me, Mark, Lucas, and herself, all smiling. One day she said, "Mama, am I lucky?" I asked, "Why?" She said, "Because I have 2 dads. Some kids have none." I hugged her. "Yes, my love. You are lucky. And they are lucky to have you." Lucas changed. He didn't show off his wealth anymore. He spent more time with Sarah. One day he told me, "I missed too many years. I can't get them back. But I'll make today count." And he did. He helped with school, bills, and repairs. He never tried to replace Mark. He just wanted to be in Sarah's life. Lucas and Mark became friends. They laughed about Sarah's jokes. They shared stories about her. One day, Claire visited again and said, "Thank you. You helped Lucas become a better man." I smiled and said, "What matters is what we do after our mistakes." That night, I sat by the window. I thought about everything. There was a time I cried every night. There was a time I felt alone and broken. But now, I was stronger. Sarah showed me how to keep going. She was my light in the dark. She taught me love can return. Even people who hurt us can help us heal. Now, I don't feel angry anymore. I just feel thankful. One night, Sarah sat beside me. She looked at the stars and asked, "Mama, do you feel sad?" I thought for a moment and said, "I used to. But not anymore." She smiled, rested her head on my shoulder, and said, "I love you, Mama." In that moment, I knew we were going to be okay. My name is Vivian. I once cried every night. I once waited for someone who never came. But now, I smile every day because I stopped waiting, and I started living, because I never gave up.